So someone left a comment about being bored in church. What should they do? And here was a comment on the comment that I thought was worth repeating and talking about. It says, if you keep watching your clock and wondering how much longer you have to sit and listen to the preacher preach the word, then you need to get saved. A real born-again believer feeds off the word of God. You hang on every word. You get so engrossed in it that you want more. Time is not an issue. You love listening to the word, and it brings pleasure to your soul. If it doesn't move you, if it doesn't change you, then you need to receive Jesus. Plain and simple. Wow. Well, I've been to churches where I feel like I could sit there for hours and hours because the pastor's doing a great job of preaching the word. And there's some exciting things happening there. And then I've been to some churches where I watch the clock because he's not doing a great job with it. Maybe he's hitting people over the head with the gospel, or maybe he's not preaching it in context, or maybe he's not, a very interesting speaker. It could be so many things. And I don't feel guilty anymore about that, about not wanting to sit and listen to something that doesn't hold my interest, because so many other things do. And just because a pastor doesn't capture your interest doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you spiritually at all. It doesn't mean that. So here's the thing. If you're in a place where you're watching the clock, you're not in the right place, most likely. You might need to find a better fit. If you're at a place where you're watching the clock and you're ignoring the gospel and you're not allowing God to speak to your heart when he's trying to, well, that's another thing. And I think that's what this guy's talking about. But just to make a blanket statement is not true. There's so many reasons. And, I've been those places where you listen to a speaker and he goes on and on and on. And you look at your watch and you think, how much longer could he possibly talk? 5 or 10 more minutes? And then another half hour goes by and an hour goes by and you think, are you serious? How do people put up with this? I don't know. I can't sit that long. It doesn't mean that I don't like the gospel. It doesn't mean that I don't like the people. It means that there's a time to begin and a time to end. Worship is like that. People say, well, you should never get tired of worship. Oh, yeah, you do. There's a time and a season for everything. And very honestly, when I begin worship, I love it. But there's a time, and you probably experience this too, when you're finished. When you're finished. And they do one more song, and you go, wow, I was finished really 2 songs ago. Yeah. Worship leaders love to play, and so sometimes they play a little too long. Sometimes not long enough. Everybody's different. But what I'm saying is that there's a season. There's a season. When I sit down to read my Bible, there's a season. I enjoy it for a period of time, and then I'm finished and ready to move on, maybe put it into practice, But there's a time when I start, and there's a time when I feel like stopping. Sometimes I feel like stopping after 5 minutes. Seriously. Sometimes it's after an hour and a half. It depends upon where my heart's at, what I'm doing, what God's speaking to me about. And that's true with a church service as well. So this advice is really not good advice, and I just wanted to comment on it because I think that it's really important that we don't get caught up in the legalism of listening to the Word of God. It should always set your heart free. God bless you. Have a great day.